parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy, Hannah, bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Wardy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just a hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Mashville woods, to the weird mountain gals neighborhood. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen and see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
You did it just like that.
I want to become an AI voice person, recording in progress.
Do you know what it would take to do that? Nothing. It would take nothing.
Nothing.
Because if
Right.
you are already on video digitally,
I'm already an
Thank you.
AI voice, aren't I?
you could be. I don't know that you are, but you could be. They're
I hate
they're
it.
selling these. I know they're selling apps now for your phone that I don't know how much it costs. I haven't really looked, but all you have to do is upload a photo and they'll make the photo move, sing, talk, whatever. And I believe that if you pay them more for some other feature, they'll make it sing or something. It's crazy. There's too
Great.
much. Yeah. I like biohumans. Not
I
just-
like humans. The rest of it isn't human. I
they're
talk
all
about that a
digital.
lot lately. I've been saying, "God, if we could just make that human scale so it felt like people were in that process, that'd be great." But
Yep.
we're in a new age now.
We are in a new age. It's what it feels like. It's not,
It just-
even though we've got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, it's weird.
It's just weird to
weird.
me. I'll see ads for things, usually in my social media. I'll see ads for things and I'll go, well, why the hell would you need that? Who the hell on earth needs that? Is that something you do all the time that you couldn't just, huh? And it's not a matter of needing, is it? is that people
Not,
see it, and because of marketing, they want it. Oh, I want that. Oh,
oh,
I'm being told by the media that that is something I want. So I better be wanting that big.
that's right. That's for me, evidently, evidently.
Instead of just looking at it and going, well, I mean, couldn't I just do that this really simple way? Could I? Yeah, I think I could. I am not the ideal demographic for as a consumer because I don't like quote unquote retail therapy. I don't go out to shop to make myself feel better. And
It
and
doesn't
and if it
work.
did make me feel better, maybe I'd do it. I don't know, but it always just makes me puzzled. Like if I need a white shirt, I will go to whatever place I usually go to. Well, first I'll go to a thrift store and I'll just get a white shirt and it doesn't have to be, I'll have my stipulations. I want it to be this size and I want it to have this length sleeve and I want it to button down the front. And those are my
Mhm.
stipulations and I just pick out the best one that fits my criteria and that's one I get. So I don't have kind of a platonic notion in my head of the perfect white shirt that I must
Yeah.
have, as I must scour the internet before so that I find it. It's like I just need a white shirt to keep the bees. So I just need a white shirt, long sleeves. That's all. Buttons up the
Well,
front. Cotton.
yeah,
Is that too hard?
evidently not. But the reason I think people do retail therapy, or the reason I did back for about a few years when I first got in the business world, was because I felt like when I would go out and shop, first of all, I'd be by myself and I wouldn't tell anybody, so I couldn't be found. And that was a huge thing for me. It felt like indulging myself because it was.
Disappearing
And
into the crowd.
right, disappearing in the crowd, which, and those buying of things for me, when I did that, it was a way to spoil myself, I thought. You see, I eventually came to another conclusion, and you know me now as the tightwad that I am. I don't even like to stop at convenience stores
No.
because just an invitation to spend money that I don't need to spend. And but it took growing up to learn it. And I do think that there are people in the world who just want something nice to be done for them. And they'll go and do retail therapy because it feels like they're doing something nice for themselves. And maybe they are, I don't know. I think that being nice to myself is when I can buy all organic food because it costs so much more, or when
Yeah.
I can, take the time out to do something right. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Is
Yeah.
to what I mean is clean my house or make something from scratch. I love that thought, but I
Me
had to
too.
grow up.
Boy, that's
Yeah.
a good way to look at it because I mean, you and I both are people for whom time is crunchy. I guess is what I'll put that. We have crunchy time. So on Sunday, uh, Joe went off to our Italian conversation class, which I don't really, I don't get much out of it anymore because now I'm doing German and not Italian. So I sometimes go, but I didn't go on Sunday, and I cleaned the bathroom. And I cleaned the
Hmm.
bathroom like getting down in the corners with a toothbrush, clean the bathroom.
Mhm.
I
Wow.
cleaned the bathroom, and then I just stood in the doorway looking at it. I felt so happy and so proud. I could not tell you the last time I had seriously mopped the bathroom floor and hadn't just dusted up a corner with a wet towel
Mm.
and put it in laundry. So that
I,
made me feel so happy to have that done. I'm trying to
and
go through so much of my house and declutter and get rid of stuff that I've kept because, oh, I might use that someday and have just, someday now it's 15 years later and I've never used it. And it's time for somebody else to have a
mhm.
chance doing that. And then last
It's
night
a
it was hot again. And I will whine more about the heat later, but it was hot again. And so what I made for supper was a great big salad. And then I plopped in all the stuff you would put in tuna salad. So pickle and onion and celery and all that. And then I plopped a can of tuna in it and stirred it all up. By God, it was delicious. And
That's
filling,
interesting.
we didn't need another thing to go with it. It was just delicious. And my body went, oh yeah, food. I remember. Good,
Can you
healthy
see?
food. Yeah.
This is my
Is that
tuna
tuna?
salad that I'm eating.
Are you eating tuna salad? You stink bomb.
I'm tasty.
I love tuna. And I know every time I eat it, I'm getting another dose of mercury poisoning, but shoot, it's too good.
Well, it's at least you're not getting a big shot of sugar or something, you know. I think sugar's evil. It's the
Sugar's
drug
more
I
evil sugar's more evil than mercury, I think, at this point.
at this point
Yeah.
I really do. I've tried. I can't overcome that addiction to sugar. I've tried.
Well, I go off for a while and then something triggers it and I get back on. So it's a constant process with me. But that's all right. It's still a process.
It is what it is. And so I guess we're all at this stage in America, we're all enhanced humans anyway. We're
Or
enhanced with whatever drugs we're on or whatever.
yeah,
Because if you're not on sugar, you're probably on caffeine. If you're not on
yeah, it's
caffeine, or
true.
probably on chocolate.
And a lot of people are on both those things, caffeine and sugar and Red Bull and whatever else.
And don't forget cheese with the casein in it. Do you
Oh,
remember
it is
that movie?
addictive.
Yeah. Do you remember the movie Super Size Me and what they found out?
Yes.
They quoting a study that found out that the casein, I guess that's how you say it, in cheeses was more addictive than heroin.
I don't
Like,
doubt it. I do not doubt it.
I never thought of it until then, but yeah, I don't doubt it either. It's crazy. Everything
Yeah.
is
So
enhanced.
so now we indulge ourselves by eating well and hydrating. Like right now, I've got a cup of tea with a little almond milk in it. And I've also got a glass of water because the tea is not going to hydrate me because it's black tea and it's a diuretic. So I'm gonna have both of those things at the same time. So there.
Perfect. That's perfect. That's what you do. And we indulge ourselves by setting boundaries. That's when you say, well, I'm going
Yes.
to all this stress that this person brings into my life. So I'm going to set boundaries and I'm being good to myself when I do that. You know, that's where I try to go is something that's actually good for me when I feel like I need to be indulged, you know, and not into let me go spend some money somewhere. I try very hard about that.
Even going to bed at a reasonable hour, it feels a little bit like an indulgence, but golly, I have slept so well, not night before last, but just about every night because I get myself to bed and to sleep by 11 o'clock.
Oh, that is
And it
good.
makes all the difference in the world. So if I
Yeah.
manage to scooter poop around and not get in bed till 11:30 or quarter 12 or after that, my sleep is not so good because
Mm.
I've gone past the point of no return.
Yeah. I get waves of sleepiness. One will hit me about 9 o'clock, and that's really probably when I ought to go to bed. It's when that first one hits, but I never do because the evening's not over in my mind. I'm not done with the evening yet. So then I get another one about 11 o'clock. And if I do go to bed during that one, which I try to, then usually I'll fall right asleep and wake up an hour later uncomfortable in some way. And then it's on for the rest of the night. I'll be wide awake and nothing I can do will put myself to sleep. It's ridiculous.
Well, I
It's
tell you,
ridiculous.
last night I didn't sleep well the night before, but last night, oh, I hit it just right, and I was sleeping good. And I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I normally, y'all, I'm sorry, this is too much information. I normally put a little bit of lotion on my feet, and I sleep in these little fluffy spa socks, they call them, because my feet, because my feet are my feet, and everybody's heard about my feet. They don't need to hear no more about them. But I didn't last night. I just went to bed because, well, I just went to bed. And I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning and my feet felt dry. And I thought, did you wake up because your feet are dry? Really? Is that really what woke you up? And my feet were like, but we're so dry. You don't understand. It's dry. It's dry down here at the bottom of the bed. So I get up and I put lotion on my feet and put the little spa socks on. And my feet were like, oh, good. Now I can get some sleep. Oh, that was terrible.
Byron, I totally get that. It's funny, but I totally get it. I do. Man, mine is, yeah, the thing that'll wake me up could be anything. But with you, see, we talked about this last week, I think, or maybe the week before, you woke up and you were hungry.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
yes.
and you ate yourself a cheese sandwich and you fell right back asleep.
And I
It's
fell
just
right back to sleep. It's like, I mean, I really, I know it sounds crazy. I really do listen to what my body is telling me. I do.
that's
And
so smart.
I don't always obey, but but often if I just will listen, my body will say like, well, the reason you feel so uncomfortable is that the sheet feels scratchy against your feet. That and you're moving around and it feels scratchy. But it wasn't that. It was that I woke up and my feet were like dry. We're dry. Why did you do this to us? Do you hate us now?
Don't you love us?
Put them socks on. I don't even care if there's lotion. Just put them little socks on.
Well, what's amazing
Lord.
to me is that you would wear socks with all this damn heat. Does it not burn
What?
you up?
Well, no, they're those little lightweight spa socks. So they don't keep your foot warm, but they do keep, excuse me, they do keep the moisture in. But
Gotcha.
and otherwise I'm usually naked, so doesn't matter. And I
You
have
sleep
my
with a
fan.
fan?
And I have my fan. Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna say. Yep. Last night
And I
was a
sleep.
2-fan night for me.
Oh, it was hot last night. So can we just segue into whining about the heat?
Let's whine about the heat. Damn. Go
I
for it.
I got spoiled in Cornwall because it was lovely and cool. Then I came home and it had rained and then it was cool. And now, by God, it is hot again. And I know it's August and I know I'm being just a whiny baby, that this ain't the hottest August has ever been, but it's just hot. It's too hot. It saps my strength.
It feels hot, like the hottest it's ever been. And in theory, according to whoever the weather person is now, we may hit a record high today.
Yeah, I
For
heard that.
Yeah. I don't know if that means anything or not, but I know this time last week, me and you were talking about how wonderful False Fall had been.
Yes. Oh,
It was
well,
great.
it was this time last week, it was 72 degrees, and today it is 92 degrees.
Yep.
So it's,
It's
we're
not
not making
fair.
it up. We're not making it up. It's the thing that's happening. But,
Yeah.
but I'm going
Well,
up to Massachusetts. In fact, y'all, by the time you hear this, I will be in Massachusetts, up at a place called Prindle Pond. And
Brindle Pond.
I'm going up to a thing called Temple Fest that I've never been to before. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also looking forward to it being cooler.
Yeah. I would think so. What is Temple Fest? Tell me about it.
Well, it's just it's an esoteric festival put on by Christopher Penzak and his Temple of Witchcraft. And they've been doing it for years, but I've just never been. I've
Hmm.
never been invited, but now I have been.
Nice. Very nice. And you're going to be teaching some classes, I guess?
Yep, teaching 3 classes, 3 of my favorites to teach. I'm going to do Warts, Waters, and What Mountain People Know, and Willful Bane, which, everybody loves that class because they want to know how to hex people. But then when I tell them how, they go, oh, well, that doesn't seem nearly dramatic enough. Well, do you want it to be dramatic or do you want it to be effective? That's what I'm asking. Which one do you want it to be? Anyway, and then that other class that I love to teach, In Search of Endarkenment.
Yeah, I love that word. And I'd never heard it until I met you.
I love talking about that. I don't know where I think I got it from Antigua, actually.
Where was Antigua from? Wasn't she from New York?
Yeah, I think so. Or Michigan. She somewhere in that awful somewhere north. She's from a north place. But I think actually she grew up in Asheville.
Oh,
I don't know if she was born here or not, but her parents were not from here. But she
hmm.
grew up out on off of Tunnel Road. You know that little windy road that is south of Tunnel Road that runs into Bowcatcher? That little old
Yeah.
windy road, which I believe is called Bowcatcher Road now that I think of it. She lived and her parents lived there when she was growing up. Because there used to be
Ah,
big old estates there and fancy
mm,
houses.
nice. Well, there's some housing there now, some income housing, income related housing. I'm not sure what you call that, but on that road there, does it go kind of up a hill?
Well, I mean, it's Asheville. Every road goes up a hill, doesn't it?
Okay.
Well, if you
Yeah.
put it this way, if you were coming from town and you went through the tunnel,
Yeah.
it's on the right.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
No, I know
up in there,
exactly.
up in there.
I had a friend, an attorney who used to live up there and who sadly passed away. But yeah, I
Oh,
know that area. Really nice. I like
mm-hmm.
that. And it still has beautiful houses. It's just that most of the great big houses have been cut into 2 or 3 or 4 apartments.
Right, or torn down to put in a little apartment complex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here we
Joe and
go.
I lived there when we first got back from Dallas. That's where Joe and I had our first apartment on Bowcatcher.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow. I used to ride motorcycle up Bowcatcher Mountain.
Oh,
You remember
wonderful.
that ride? And I remember one time I was riding on the back of Randy's motorcycle, and he's an excellent motorcycle driver. And it was night, but it's probably after midnight because I he and I worked second shift. And so then, 11
Ah,
o'clock at night felt like 6 o'clock to us. And so
yeah.
we'd get on the motorcycle and just ride and ride. It was great riding because no crowds and stuff. Somehow we ended up at Bowcatcher Mountain, and there's a big old house there that there's all these rumors about it being a fat farm at one time, and it was a religious place at one time, and there's just
You
all
mean
kinds of rumors about it. We
you
ended
mean
up,
Zealandia?
yes, that's
Yeah.
it. Okay. And somehow we ended up on that property without realizing it. And 2 of the biggest, scariest dogs ever chased our motorcycle down that mountain. They came out of the
Wow.
property and all the way down that. And we were just like, holy shit, because the turns there are S turns.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's terribly rough road. You need to have a lot of skill to go down it. And of course, it was like probably after midnight sometime, and these big old dogs, and no huge street lights through there was the other thing.
No, that's
Yeah.
right. They set the dogs on you, huh?
Yes, I guess those dogs. I guess they had to let them out. Who let the dog? And
Oh
we
my
we
gosh. Release the
truly did not mean to
hounds.
do that. They did. They did. What was the name of? There's a place up off of Bowcatcher, and it was a rock, and people used to go there to that rock, and it was like some big symbolic teenager thing. They would go to this rock that was jutting out from the mountain there, and they would
Oh,
betroth themselves or drink. I'm sure getting engaged and getting drunk, it's the same thing, just about teenagers, but they would do all kinds of stuff, and I can't remember the name of it now. Do you?
oh, I don't know anything about that. That's interesting.
I'll have to ask some folks because I remember it, and honestly, I used to love to ride Bowcatcher Mountain. It's a great mountain for
It's
motorcycles.
beautiful. I love that old mountain. I'm sorry
Yeah,
we
I
had
do
to cut
too.
it in half because we're assholes.
Oh, I was pretty young when that happened, and I felt actual pain about it. I was
Yeah.
like, no, you can't kill that mountain. Why would you want to kill the mountain? But we know why. Progress.
Money, 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 money.
Yep, yep. That's progress. That's whatever that realtor told me that time. He says, can't stand in the way of progress. He's talking about
Yeah.
when he was, tearing down that house. And the Subaru place is the one that is responsible for taking down the Ingalls mansion on the top of the hill there near the farmer's market. That's going
Oh,
to be a
is
Subaru
it? It's
place.
Subaru, of course. But
And it's huge.
but the family sold it. So
They
it
did.
ain't Subaru's fault that somebody was willing to sell.
No, you're right. But Byron, I don't understand why people, well, I guess I do, but I don't get it why people would rather tear something down than fix it up. They'd rather
I
tear it
don't
down
either.
and build something on top of it.
And you said the Ingalls, but it wasn't Ingalls, it was Israel. It belonged to the Israel family.
I
Jesse
did
Israel
not know that.
that has the well, I just know it because I was there one day with I think the daughter of Jesse Israel that I went to high school with. And I said, "Do you know what that house is?" And she said, "Oh yeah, that's the old family house. Nobody lives there now." So yeah, I'm pretty sure that
Wow.
was the Israel house. But I'm sure somebody listening to this will correct us if we will correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm. I wouldn't mind knowing. And I don't know why I say that, but I do know that I didn't know any of the history of the house. All I knew is that every time I drove past it, I loved looking at it.
Me
And I
too.
always wanted to go up there and just see it close up. And I always make kind of half-ass plans. If I ever see anybody, around that place, I'll ask them if I can go up there. Even just because sometimes, if I'm telling them I want to photograph something, people will let me. People are nice
Yeah,
sometimes.
mostly people are perfectly fine with stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep. And then I looked at the trees and there was a lot of these great big giant beautiful trees and I thought there's morels on that hill and
Ah,
I must find
not
them.
now.
No, now that
Never,
hill doesn't
never
really,
gonna see another morel there.
well, they have dug out half that mountain.
Yeah.
When was the last time you drove by it?
It's been a couple weeks is all. But they'd already taken down the house and taken off the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And
And
in
all
my
you see is orange.
and in my world, that would be against the law. You either work with the topography of the land you bought, or you don't buy that land. You go buy some damn flat land. But when you take a
Right.
mountain down, the mountain doesn't grow back. I mean, as much as I love trees and I don't want to see them cut down, a tree will grow back eventually. A mountain doesn't grow back.
Mhm.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Exactly. Well,
So,
I
but
just,
Subaru, Asheville is Subi country. So I'm sure Subaru and the county between them can do whatever the hell they want to do.
mm,
And we ain't got no power over it at all. Period. End of statement.
yeah. And it is what it is. I know I get on here and all I do is ever gripe about stuff like that, but I really feel that way. It feels like, what a shame. Feels like such a waste.
It feels
There's
like,
some,
and I don't even, and I'm gonna say this, not even really know what I'm saying, because I'm not a Christian and I'm not a Jew. And let me just say, I'm not an Abrahamic. So I don't necessarily know what sin should be, but that's a sin. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a mortal sin. So the people who decided that taking that mountain down, and it wasn't a big mountain, it was a hill, really. The people who decided and paid money to do that, that's a mortal sin in my book.
they
So
decided,
I hope their soul can live with that what they have done.
oh, I'm sure it can because they don't consider, at least this is my little opinion, which means nothing. But I do know lots of Christian folks who would answer that statement by saying, well, God gave us dominion over this planet.
And they'd also would answer that statement by saying, "Well, this earth is not my home. I'm going to heaven. Don't you understand? I've accepted Jesus. So this is not my home. I don't know what you're thinking of, heathen."
And yeah, either the Subaru people evidently decided that getting a good view of the Subaru lot was far more important than keeping this ancient hill. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's I know that my grandparents and all the folks who came before me that love this area, every time something like that happened, they were sorry and sad about it, and I'm no different than them. And
No, me either.
so that I'd like to do something about it. I'd like for everybody to just do exactly what I wanted them to do. Then, but I'd be a little bored at that point.
Hey, how come we're not the boss of everybody? That's what I can't figure out.
That's well, I am the boss of some people.
Well, I'm the boss of me, and I don't do a very good job of that.
You do fine. You know you do.
Oh, I don't know. I let me get away with an awful lot of stuff I shouldn't be getting away with. But
See,
hey,
you're
I read
indulging
something.
yourself.
Yeah, I read something on the Twitter today because I refuse to call it X because I just refuse to. So there.
Yeah.
Just like forever, that big, ugly, haunted hotel on Pack Square is going to be the Northwest Bank building.
Yes, it
Forever.
is.
Forever. And go ahead and
Yes,
throw that
ma'am.
out if you need to.
I agree
Anyway,
with
what
you.
was I even talking about? So, on Twitter, I read a factoid, as they say, that 44% of the houses that were flipped in 2023 went to investment firms. 44%. That's just almost half of the housing stock. And this was, I think, nationally. I will bet you a nickel, right, that percentage is higher in Asheville and Buncombe County. I bet you a nickel. 44% was not bought by struggling young people who wanted to buy their first home. It was bought by a crow investment firm so they could make more money. And again, that should be against the law. It should absolutely be against the law.
Is
And
it
people,
investment companies or
yes, an
like
investment
real?
firm, an investment
Man,
firm.
that's that's
I mean,
ridiculous.
I'm mad enough about these yahoos that come into a community and they buy a house and they spend 3 months doctoring it up and then they flip it and go to the next house. I'm mad enough at them because all they do is
Double
jack
their
up the
money.
prices and jack up my
Yeah,
damn taxes.
yeah.
But when it's a firm of people who are making money off the fact that people can't afford to buy a house, how how do those people sleep at night? Well, they sleep on a
Well,
big stack of money. That's how they sleep. Apparently, sleeping on $100 bills is real comfortable.
I have so much contempt for people who are only greed motivated.
Oh,
I
and I
just
love
have a
that
problem.
word, contempt. You don't hate them, you are contemptuous of them. I love that.
Well, it's the truth. I don't hate them because I understand money is nice, but they're screwed up because money's not everything, you know.
No,
But they'd laugh at that statement. And I have a specific realtor in Asheville in mind when I talk like that about realtors in this area because and contempt is definitely the word that I have for this person. I was in Leeds group with him, and he's very prominent realtor now. I'm sure if I told you the name, you would know exactly who I was talking about. And he was the one who said, "Oh, can't stand in the way of progress," and he just does not give a damn. He thinks that the local yokels are backwards. And that's I can't quote him directly about that because I can't remember the exact thing he said, but I do remember that he used the term local yokel. And
so him and his brother came up here to take advantage of the rubes. Yeah,
yeah,
got it.
of
Got
yeah,
it.
of the real estate market that people around here don't know what they've got. Well, we're gonna show them, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's like
and those people since I'm sitting here like damn Solomon today, those people in my world would be put against a wall with a white napkin pinned over their heart. And you can guess the next step. I put those I put those
don't stand in the way of progress. Move.
Yeah,
Click. Yeah. So, sorry. Then we better not
Oh.
put that in there. Shit.
Do you
They're going to
suppose he'd
come after
remember?
anyway.
Well, it's probably a case if you leave that in, everybody will go, oh, I know that guy. And it'll be, 20 different guys because they all say that.
By the way,
Yeah.
speaking of stuff like that, I drove through your neighborhood a couple times, as you know, the last few
Uh-huh.
weeks. It's almost unrecognizable.
It is. It is. Thank you, everyone who participated in that. When
Yeah.
they first came around, we had people from Mountain Housing and the city who came around asking what the people in this neighborhood wanted in the 1990s. And the answer was, we want to be left alone. That was the answer. But is that what happened? No. And all those people, with the exception of one family, is 2 families and us, are gone now.
Wow. And of
Yeah.
course, there are twice as many homes because they're cutting up people's property into 2 and 3 parcels and building on them.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
terrific.
can't hardly. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But then again, we keep breeding. We got to have some place for people to live. But does every couple need to have a 4,000 square foot home?
Apparently, yes. Because if you're going to pay $1 million for a house, you need to get the biggest one you can get, I guess. I don't know. It's because we are between the jumped up River Arts District and the jumped up downtown. So you can walk to either place. I doubt many people do, but we are walking distance to all that. And yeah, and so that's what has happened to us. And we're ruined. We're plumb ruined.
You are, and I'm so sorry about it because I've only been driving up there for a few years, heading up the hill to see you. But even I can remember how it used to be there. And I remember the first time I ever saw your house, the drive up there, I remember thinking, this would be a neat place to live. It's just a little neighborhood, but it's there on a hill and it's just a neat little place. And I no longer think that. When I drive through there, I think, oh, what a shame. I'm glad I don't live here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, but of course, then again,
That used to be what we felt like, but no more. By God,
yeah,
now
no.
we've got houses that rival the prices in Biltmore Forest. Yeah.
I
Anyway.
need to get off that subject or I'll be in a bad mood all day.
Well, I'm gonna say one last thing, and it's a kind of ironic thing, is that big empty field that faces 240 as you're going into downtown, if you're on the
Okay.
right.
Yep.
That big field was sold to a local nonprofit developer who's putting in a big building full of affordable rentals. Truly
Okay.
affordable and permanently affordable. And that is their plan. And it's going to be monitored by and taken care of by Givens Estate. So all these people that spent $1 million and a half dollars on a house are now going to be within easy walking distance to a whole bunch of people that I'm sure that are not be in easy walking distance to, which are just like the original inhabitants of this neighborhood, middle class and working class people.
Yep. Well, if you're middle class or working class now, you pretty much are no longer able to buy a home.
That's absolutely true. Not here, and not in a lot of places.
Right.
This
And that's
horrific greed it's too much. It's too much.
We used the first time home buyer loan, and that was what is that branch of the government that was helping people at that point with buying homes. But we were paying the same amount to rent a trailer as we did to buy that home, our house payments, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a low interest loan, I guess,
Yep.
for the home. And my parents did the same thing before us. They did. But
But
you
if
know,
you had,
Asheville,
but if you had
okay.
children, they would not be able to do that. Not here.
I didn't realize that.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, unless your children are, I don't, unless you're imaginary children, as we are referring to them, unless they had really, really good jobs, which you can't get in this town, they wouldn't be able to afford to do that. Because your mom and dad were buying what, a $50,000 home, and you two
I
bought you two bought a
ours was
$75,000 home or whatever.
it,
Well,
it was less than that.
those things don't exist anymore. They just don't exist, and it's because of all of this.
Yeah.
But now we are going to change the subject. I'm going to say, how's your mama? Because I know you got
Oh,
to
she's
spend some good time with her this week. You tell your mama, I mean, because she knows I'm her biggest fan. You tell your mama how clean my bathroom is. And if she
I
wants the
will.
bathroom that clean, she just has to say the word.
Oh,
And me and you will be out there. I'll be out there with my tools and my little scrub brushes and my corner toothbrush. I'll take
your
care of her
corner
damn bathroom.
toothbrush.
You tell her Byron, her biggest fan, said she just has to say the word. Say the
Oh,
word,
thank
little mama.
you. That is nice. Well, you know, she does take care of the bathroom probably better than any room in the house, and that's true. And I guess that it's because she had it redone with one of those walk-in showers. And
Ooh,
that was
nice.
something that she wanted for years, even before my dad died, because she thought it would be just such a good thing. And she never could bring herself to spend the money. And finally, she got to the point where she felt like she had to do it. So she got her bathroom redone or the shower put in, and she is so proud of that room. She keeps it spotless. Yeah,
That is
so
great. Well, I
I
think
think
I
it is.
love to do the bathroom because, I grew up without one. So the
Oh no,
idea of
I
actually,
didn't.
yeah, the idea of having a flushing toilet, oh, it still thrills me. All these, what is that, 50 years later.
Wow,
That's
I
when I
didn't
moved
realize
out of,
that.
yeah, I moved out of my parents' house to go to college and lived in a house with a flush toilet. So yeah, I'm still so grateful, I guess, and happy. Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing.
Well,
Well,
let's just.
and you can tell her I do the same thing with the kitchen too. If she wants the kitchen clean, say the word, little mama. I'm
I
on
do
it.
that with the kitchen. I definitely do that with the kitchen. I mean, and I like to have a clean house. I just have grown used to not having one all the time. When you come home, there are little marks in the rug where the vacuum's been.
I love
And I
it. My daughter's got one of those.
and you don't hate that? I figured you'd hate that.
I just think it's like one of those many things that I go, well, why would you need that? Ain't you got a vacuum cleaner in the closet?
Well,
But
you got
I don't vacuum if I can help it. Joe is the vacuum man. He loves
yeah,
to run
yeah.
the vacuum. It's too
Well, it's
noisy to me. I don't like the sound.
yeah, I don't care for the sound either, but I keep waiting for the day that I come home and Cat Dog is riding it, sitting
Oh,
on the room, whatever, just riding it around
it'll
the house.
happen. It'll happen, Roomba.
Yep,
And
yep.
uh, my daughter has a name for it, and I can't remember what it is.
What is that? Oh,
The Roomba.
for the
Her
back.
Roomba has a name, and when
We
she
call
leaves,
ours
she will
Rosie.
say, if when she leaves, she will say, Alexa, turn on the whatever, and then she tells the Roomba to do its thing.
She
Or
that's good.
when she was going to work early in the morning, now she works like second shift, so it may be different. But
Uh,
yeah, oh no, Alexa knows what to do to keep the NPR going for the dog, and then the vacuum Roomba knows what to do to clean. Golly,
you
she's got it
know,
going on, that kid.
that's that is a good use of technology. If you can free yourself from labor that you really hate or something, and let
Yeah.
let the tech do it and free yourself up to do something better or something else. I'm okay with that technology, but humans, we don't know how to stop when it's good enough. If this is good,
No,
something else is
we gotta have
much better.
more, says the baby.
More,
Yeah,
more,
I saw a thing. A friend of mine sent me a thing today on my Instagram account, and it was this old fashioned, like at a water mill, and this water went down a flume, and it went into this cone shaped wooden contraction, and it shot into there, and because it was going so fast, then it created a whirlpool effect, and that's how people do their laundry. Is that they throw it in there and they leave it for a couple hours, and it just goes round and round, round and round and round and round and round, and then they fish it out of there with a hook and hang it up.
that sounds pretty efficient.
It looked incredibly efficient because the water's going to be going down through that way anyway. Might as well go around your clothes. But they didn't use soap on their clothes, so unless like our clothes don't get soiled really,
Right.
unless I'm working hard in the garden. So that would freshen everything up. You hang it up, be good.
Mhm. Well, they used to take clothes when you're washing clothes in a creek or a river, whatever, you smack it on the rock. You don't use soap.
Yeah.
You
No, you
wet
just
it down,
smack it.
smack it. And I don't know why you do, but that's what you do. You smack it on the rock and then you twist it up and pull
Yeah.
it, and that makes it get drier. And
Yep.
they didn't care about wrinkles because they'd iron it if they needed to with that little bitty cast iron that they put in the fire, to get warm. But that's how they did it. And they did it without soap. And I agree, we generally don't get very dirty anymore like they would. And
No,
people would
it
go,
wasn't like
they would go,
coal miners' clothes.
no, God. And people would actually go into these creeks, and washing day, they would wash themselves at the same time.
Yeah.
While they were doing the laundry, they'd do their own selves. And I know that sophisticated people today will go, oh, save me. That couldn't possibly be sanitary. But you know what? I think it probably was fine.
Well,
The rivers back weren't as polluted, hopefully.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I posted a thing on my socials. My sign of a good economy is a drinkable river. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being able to go down to the French Broad River or the Swannanoa River and dip a gourd in there and drink it? Can you imagine? I can't.
No,
I can't.
I can't. It's been filthy since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It just has. I went in 1979. I went tubing one time in the French Broad, and I never will again. I mean, it was fine. It was fun, but there's no way. It was nasty. Now, we used to go up to the top of a mountain off of 151, and there was one of those little creeks that would flow down off of the rocks. You'd see the side of the mountain, and this little tiny bit of water that'd be hitting the rocks, and then it'd go down somewhere
Yeah.
else. We actually did get water from there back in the day, back when I was a kid. We'd get that water, and that was our drinking water.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to drink the water that came in through the pipes because it was too much chlorine and just nastiness. You
Yeah.
could cook with it, though. Wash your body with it or cook with it. But the drinking water, they wanted to be pure water, and they'd go get it from the top of the mountain. Literally,
Yeah.
they would go drive for the drinking water. I'm so
I
glad they
believe
did.
it.
Tasted better.
Yeah. Well,
My
when I
grandma
was
used to love it.
when I was growing up on the side of a mountain, I drank in all the creeks. There were at least 2 or 3 different creeks that came down. But that was the 60s and early 70s.
Yep.
And you
And
could still,
it's
I mean, the worst that would have happened is the cows would have shit near the creek. That would have been the worst thing that would have happened. And I never got anything from that, so I guess that never happened either. But I drank that water all the time.
Tune in again next week for part 2 of this fine broadcast.
Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Weird Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have. So I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.